It's been a while since we reacted to anything from our friends at Revolver. God bless them for whatever event they shot these videos at. They got like 50 videos out of the same event, and I'm pretty sure that I've reacted to all of them. If I haven't, then I will. I react to your favorite rockers reacting, courtesy of our friends at Revolver. And this time, they will be answering the question of what is the greatest grunge band of all time? Let's find out. I feel like the obvious answer is Nirvana. If you don't say Nirvana, then basically you're a clown. But I feel like recently, in the same way as we've like retconned Deftones as being like the creators of nu metal, I feel like nerds have decided that Alice in Chains is the best grunge band. And I do love Alice in Chains, but I think objectively you gotta say Nirvana or you are a certified poser. So let's see how many of your favorite rockers are posers. If you don't say Nirvana, you're a poser. It's not a question at all. Like, it's literally not a question. Nirvana is the only answer. It's insane to say anything else. It's like picking a band other than Korn is the best nu metal band. It's crazy, but let's see.
The greatest grunge band. That's a good one.
The greatest grunge band.
What's up? You know, social distortion.
Hey?
Social distortion.
Social distortion.
What? Sasha Zalsha? What?
Social distortion.
Hey?
Social distortion.
Social.
Sasha. I'm sorry. I only speak American. Can you repeat that more slowly?
Distortion, a grunge band.
Social distortion. Ugh. This is gonna be a long one. Let's see.
Nirvana.
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
know, man.
I gotta say, I've never really enjoyed Baroness's music, but they seem like cool guys. I would like to be friends with Baroness. And John Baisley, he does all their artwork, doesn't he? His artwork is pretty cool. I like his artwork quite a bit. If I ever run into him at Starbucks or at the airport or NAMM or something like that, I am definitely going to refer to him as Baroness. I'm going to run up to him in the line at Starbucks and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you. I'll bring my wife over and be like, look, honey, it's Baroness. Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you. And then I'll take a picture with him and I'll be like, look, I met Baroness today at Starbucks and it's just, he's a little taller than I thought, but that's my hope. So Baroness, if you're watching this, can I tell people that we're friends? That's my question.
Nirvana.
But this is the correct
Man.
answer.
That's either Nirvana or Soundgarden. There are a lot of people like to talk shit on Nirvana. It's like, you know, that's the greatest thing about rock and roll is you don't actually have to be good at instruments to write good songs.
Yeah, I mean, that is the best. Like, anybody probably could play guitar as well as Kurt Cobain when you're like 15 years old, but who cares? Like, this is not a guitar playing contest. It's about making good music, and Kurt Cobain was one of the best like rock songwriters of all time and had one of the best voices of all time. So suck it, guitarists, suck it. If only Gwar wrote good songs. I beg to differ. The first couple Gwar albums are actually very good. Scumdogs of the Universe is great. America Must Be Destroyed is also good. I beg to differ. Gwar is legitimately a good band.
No, Nirvana, not good at instruments, great at writing songs.
Yes.
Soundgarden, good at writing instruments, good at writing songs.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Very fair breakdown. I agree.
Good at playing instruments, whatever.
We just got the opportunity to see Pearl Jam again. They came through our town, and to this day, somebody's like, they're like my generation's Rolling Stones at this point because they just never die, and they have never been terrible.
They literally never die, unlike every other grunge band who literally died. Pearl Jam is middle-aged women festival rock. Gotta say, respect to Pearl Jam because they seem like cool guys, but their music is really not good. Like, the first album was good. Like 10 is good, but they have a lot of really mid music, unfortunately. So Lizzie, I consider you a close friend, even though we only met once and you probably don't know my name. I consider you one of my closest friends. Even so, you, my dear friend, I really question your judgment on this one.
They've never been bad live. I listen to a lot of Pearl Jam radio because they play a lot of the live concerts, and that was how I got through the pandemic, trying to get that live bug. But for me, it's Pearl Jam.
That's how she got through the pandemic, was listening to Pearl Jam live concerts. To me, that would be like if you locked me up in Guantanamo Bay and were trying to torture me to get information out of me as to where, you know, my stash of chemical weapons was located, you would make me listen to Pearl Jam live recordings. And I would break after like, you know, 4 songs. I'm like, okay, you got me. I'll tell you where they are. Just make it stop. Anything. Just make it stop.
For me, it's Pearl Jam.
Again,
Okay.
same thing. What is grunge, really? If you think Alice in Chains would be a grunge band, which I don't think they ever were.
Yes, Alice in Chains was a grunge band. Come on. Listen, grunge is like nu metal, that the bands don't sound exactly the same, okay? But Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden are the 4 definitive grunge bands. It's just a fact. They're all part of the same scene at the same time. They all had a kind of similar take on that kind of sound. Obviously, they don't sound exactly the same, but that's because they're good bands that have their own identity. They're grunge bands, okay? They're grunge bands. I don't know why people are so like hesitant. Why are people so hesitant to apply genre labels, you know?
Well, since they came from Seattle, that scene, if you consider them grunge, it's one of my favorite bands ever. But I wouldn't say they're grunge. I have no idea. It's not my genre.
Nirvana.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised Chris didn't say Korn. I thought Mr. Garza would show up and say, obviously, Korn is the #1 grunge band of all time. I'm surprised, but he did have the correct answer.
Kurt Cobain is he's my top 5 favorite guitar players of all time. You know, I love rhythm guitar players because I'm a rhythm guitar player. You know, I like simple riffs, but catchy, has that unattainable special sauce to it. You know, it's like
it absolutely, yes, this is a great point. It does have that unattainable special sauce to it. Korn is one of those bands. Nirvana is one of those bands. Pantera is one of those bands. Other people can play their songs and they can get it note for note, but it doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. It is that special sauce.
what is that? It's like, it's something you can't put your finger on it.
Yep.
It's like Kurt Cobain's like, he's my guy.
By the way, I would say Suicide Silence also is one of those bands that, you know, there's lots and lots of people that have tried to copy Suicide Silence over the years. Back in the 2000s, they had a million fucking copycats. Nobody did it. They've got that special sauce too, and this is why I love Suicide Silence to this day. One of my favorite bands of all time.
You know, I read a lot of his books, his interviews. I'm just fascinated with that guy, you know.
And for me, obviously like Pearl Jam, obviously Soundgarden, obviously Nirvana, but we were just talking about Alice in Chains. Dirk, this is the 30th anniversary.
You see what I'm saying? You see how everyone's saying Alice in Chains? I knew it. I did not watch this video before I reacted to it here, but I'm telling you, somehow the millennials have retconned it such that Alice in Chains is the #1 grunge band, which it's just, it's wrong, people. I'm sorry. I love Alice in Chains very, very much. I do. I think they're an absolutely incredible band and I love them, but they're not #1. Nirvana's #1. It's because they're the most metal. That's what it is. Exactly. That's what it is. It's because they're the most metal, and now everyone is an autistic metal nerd, and that's all they can handle is metal.
This year, which is crazy. Oh God, I feel old. But yeah, Alice in Chains is always, I think, the one that I just kind of end up going to. They're like my go-to.
It's because it's metal.
Because Lane
That's
Staley
why.
is. Yeah. It's hard to choose though, because like obviously Eddie Vedder is actually, like, out of those major 4, he's the only singer that's still here.
Still left, yeah.
Eddie Vedder's the only one that's literally not dead, so respect. Let's see what Courtney says. Gotta know what Courtney says. One of my favorite rockers. Let's see how she reacts.
I think it's Nirvana. I think that if we think of there's before Nirvana and after Nirvana, like when we think about music,
yes,
there's Nirvana was like the career killer band for the bands that didn't catch the grunge train. And I think that when I think of music in that way, when I think of heavy music, that there was post Nirvana, and then there was everything that happened after. So
yep, she's right. Nirvana did change music literally overnight. It is an absolute fact. It happened. When they came out, when they broke through in 1991, everything changed literally overnight, and everything that came out before it seemed like corny and dated and phony and just instantly out of style, basically. She's absolutely right. And I would say ever since then, I really think that we're still living in a post-Nirvana world, because They basically just knocked down all the things that defined popular music before that, as far as just being like, you know, this like contrived over the top stuff with costumes and this, that, and the other, you know, and they came out with these super raw, real lyrics and sort of, you know, looked like just a bunch of dudes off the street. They changed everything. It is a fact. That's why they're so important. And that's why Courtney is correct.
All you have to do is hear the drums kick in, and then your career's gone. I would have been that. I would have been one of the hair metal bands that got my ass kicked by Nirvana too. So
she's right.
I don't want to. This band is definitely grungy, but I like Alice in Chains like a lot.
I told you. You see, what have millennials done? Millennials, you're disappointing me. I'm officially old and angry. I'm officially the bitter Gen Xer lashing out at millennials.
I feel like they do fall in the
We came as Romans with the L.
I mean, most people would say
as
like,
always,
you know, like Nirvana or something like that, but I feel like Alice in Chains is a little bit more like rock and rolly, but they do have that grungy, like kind of feel and grit. So I would say Alice.
And to be clear, I absolutely love Alice in Chains. They're a 10 out of 10 band to me. No question. But Nirvana is just on another level. That's all. Alice in Chains is Deftones for people without autism, for people with depression instead of autism.
Alice in Chains, but that's like my kind of more opinion on like the grunge kind of stuff.
I gotta say Nirvana, just because my friends and I and our shitty garage band in high school, we would try to learn all the Nirvana songs, and it just, listening to them takes me back to that. And it's always a good memory.
Hole. Yeah, Hole is sick.
Ho? Okay, they said Ho. This is interesting because nobody back in the 90s would have ever said Hole. It's weird, but it was totally unacceptable and uncool to like Hole. Personally, I think they're pretty bad, other than Celebrity Skin, which I believe Billy Corgan wrote that, I think. I think Hole is a terrible band. Not just that I dislike Courtney Love, although I do, but I think Hole is bad.
We like Hole, don't get the beef.
Don't beef with me, just don't fucking start it.
Obviously Nirvana, but I like Dinosaur Jr. quite.
Dinosaur Jr., not grunge. Good band, but not grunge.
A lot. It's just like grunge, but with shredding, which is nice. He's got some, like, Jay Mascis has some great lyrics as well.
Grunge with shredding. Of course. Oh, these people. All they can think about is riffs and shredding. Guitarists ruined music. Guitarists have killed rock and roll. They have killed metal because all guitarists can think about is guitars. They can't think about songs. It's like these guitarists have fucking one-track minds. It's always like riffs and riffs and riffs. Like all you can think about is fucking riffs.
And he's a brilliant custom jazz master. He's
it's good. Guitars. I really like Alice in Chains, and we're right next to Jerry Control's dressing room today, so I'm
as long as no one sells Pearl Jam.
Then we're good.
I don't know what he's saying. No one knows what he's saying.
I don't know what he's saying.
He don't know what he's saying. If our session drummer could hear me saying this, he'd probably be running at me with like a knife right.
Can barely even understand what they're saying.
Sorry, Adam.
I mean, Pearl Jam's nice and all, but...
Okay, Bloodywood. The boys in Bloodywood. Let's see what they have to say.
I mean, it's Nirvana. It has to be Nirvana.
Yes.
Has to be Nirvana.
Has to be Nirvana. Jan is the resident grunge expert also. I give it to him.
Has to be Nirvana, yeah.
Okay, so the boys in Bloodywood with the correct answer of Nirvana. I like it. Hats off to the boys in Bloodywood.
I really mean it. Like, it has to be Nirvana. Like, Milk It, what a fucking song. It's a like, people would have been like, why the fuck is this guy screaming? But it goes so well. So, I mean, yeah, it has, for me, specifically, it's Nirvana.
Okay. Nirvana, hands down. That band changed the world, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
The greatest grunge band. It's a really hard one to.
We've been living in a very rock and roll world.
No, I've got this, Ryan. I've got this. I've got the greatest grunge band of all time. And maybe
I'll just back the truck up.
Yeah, you know what? I think you can't pluralize the Lone Ranger, but they were called the Lone Rangers from Airheads, and to me, that.
Okay, the Lone Rangers from Airheads, all right.
Pluralize Lone Rangers.
Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God? Trick question, asshole. Lemmy is God.
Chas Darby and the Lone Rangers.
Yes.
Best in the business.
Yes.
Alice in Chains.
Another Alice in Chains. I fucking told you, people. I told you. It's because they're the most metal, and it's because all these goddamn guitarists, all they can think about is metal. Sad. Listen to this. Sad.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains, I gotta say. That's it.
Top 5. Yeah.
Sad. Sad to see a whole generation of posers all
Being
wrong.
on tour with the Melvins definitely has us thinking about grunge and stuff again in a different way. I mean, obviously, like, you know, there's the big four and like they're like grunge, do you know what I mean? And like Nirvana, I think for us, the one we...
And this is Lars Ulrich's kid, right? This guy, I forget the name of his band, but that's Lars's kid, right?
We listen to Soundgarden probably the most, I would say. Like, or
Dave Grohl's a big drumming influence for me.
Okay.
But I do listen to a lot of Soundgarden.
Yeah.
You know, Soundgarden's a respectable answer. I personally would not choose Soundgarden as the best of the grunge bands, but it's a respectable answer. Yes, this is true. Soundgarden has been completely forgotten, which is a shame because they're very underrated. Soundgarden's a great band. I wouldn't pick them. It's objectively the wrong answer, but I still respect it.
Huge Matt Cameron
Soundgarden
fan.
was like the weird,
Also,
like,
I mean, we
artsy,
listen to a lot of Alice in Chains,
like,
too.
band
Like, I mean,
of the
I
big
get
four.
a namesake from that band, so I can't not listen to them. And they're also fucking sick. So yeah, a lot of different
Difficult
stuff.
to pick.
Definitely.
Love all of them.
Yeah.
I think the whole grunge era, it influenced so many different bands, and a lot of it was a combination. Especially for me as a vocalist, it's like you can only dream to be as good as Chris Cornell, and you can.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact. Chris Cornell is such a ridiculously good, like, powerful vocalist. That guy is like a fucking freak talent. And I mean, you know, Kurt was a great vocalist in his own way, technically not good. Lane Staley, maybe, you know, a very unique sound, but Chris Cornell, like, goddamn, just what an incredibly, like, powerful vocalist.
Can only dream to outlast them all, like Eddie Vedder. So it's like, it's a combination.
We'll have that haunting.
And then there's Eddie Vedder. The less said about Eddie Vedder's vocals, the better. Seems like a cool guy. I'm sorry, Eddie, if you're watching this. But, you know, maybe consider another occupation other than singing, perhaps. Yeah, and I like how everyone just, like, continues. This is right, yeah. I love that the best thing Pearl Jam has going for them is they're not dead. I like how that keeps coming up. Well, listen, everyone else is dead, but Pearl Jam's here, so I guess they win by default.
Why do you make us choose? This is unfair.
Yeah, obviously we can't choose, but you know.
But we have to.
His bank account probably disagrees. Obviously, I'm joking.
Although I don't know if they'd be considered grunge, would they? It's hard to you don't want to pigeonhole anything anyway, but like of that same era.
You see how everyone is so hesitant to, like, apply genre? Like, grunge and nu metal are like the two genres that nobody will ever sort of admit to being. Like, nobody's this way about thrash or death metal or punk, or, you know, for some reason grunge and nu metal are these two labels that everyone just tries to avoid. It's very weird.
They're still out there, still killing it, and we play with them quite a few times, so yeah, pretty cool.
They're from Chicago. Does that count?
Yeah, they're not part of the Seattle.
What band are they talking
they're
about?
Not Seattle, right? Yeah.
Greatest grunge.
Ooh, okay. Let's see what Jose. God, the drip god, Jose Mangan. Let's see what he has to say.
Band. Well, fucking Nirvana. I mean,
See?
Nirvana, but I love Soundgarden more. Thought Soundgarden.
Now, Jose handled this exactly right. He said, obviously, the greatest grunge band is Nirvana, but I like Soundgarden more. This is why I consider Jose a close friend. I've never met Jose. I've never talked to him. I think maybe we've interacted on Twitter once or twice, but still, I feel like we're good friends. So, Jose, if you happen to be watching this, I would just like you to know that I've been telling everybody we're very, very good friends. I hope that's okay with you. If anybody asks, hey, are you friends with Vin Mckenty? I would like you to say, absolutely, man. I never met the guy, but I consider him a very close friend. That's what I would like.
Soundgarden was a heavier band, and Alice in Chains was a heavier band too. Fuck, dude. I'm gonna say Nirvana though, just because of what they did and how revolutionary they were.
Jose
for
knows
the globe, for the universe,
He's right.
for fucking aliens and shit. Yeah, Nirvana, but I love Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. Those because they're
I like
heavier.
it.
Probably Alice in Chains.
Okay, Alicia. She said Alice in Chains too. You see?
Go Alice in Chains. Obviously, I got love for Nirvana. All of them, really, but I'm gonna go with Alice in Chains.
I'm not in the grunge. You probably have more grunge experience than I do.
Even later iterations of it. I remember we were doing that tour a few years ago with, like, My Ticket Home was kind of bringing it back before, and they had like that sludgy.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it was like a genty grunge thing. But I love that. I love that My Ticket Home.
Would Soundgarden technically be kind of? Yeah, Soundgarden too. Chris Cornell is like something about his voice is like.
Yeah,
that was.
Here's I can't help but notice his armpit hair here. I'm not trying to pick on this guy in particular, but just anytime I see a guy wearing like a tank top, if he has like untrimmed armpit hair, it really bothers me. And I'm not picking on this guy in particular, but just armpit hair. I can't do it. I can't do it. It makes it. I've made this comparison before, but have you ever had the misfortune of seeing your mom get out of the shower, right? And there's the sort of like wispy hairs in her area, right? Your mom's wispy hairs coming out of her area. When I see men's long wispy armpit hairs, it makes me think of the long wispy hairs in your mom's area. And I have a problem with that. Okay, Jordan Peterson. Or, you know, in every locker room of every gym, there's the old man that walks around butt naked. You know who I'm talking about? Like the 72-year-old man that walks around completely naked for like 10 minutes. You know, he's like blow drying his hair, butt naked, standing in front of the mirror, you know, just completely naked. That guy, yeah, with his wispy hairs all over. Exactly. Yeah, does he even use you never see him actually working out. You just see him in the locker room completely naked. That's what I think of whenever I see men wearing a sleeveless shirt with the pit hair coming out. This is what I think of. Naked old people. Yeah, you got to admire that guy, though. The naked gym locker room guy. You really got to admire him because that's a man that's just living completely free of any of society's expectations. Like, that's a real Chad. Just like walking around with his like paunchy little belly out and his hairy fucking balls. His dick looks like it's 3/4 of an inch long because he's got like 2 inches of like dark gray bush with just a little tiny head sticking out, right? Looks like a little Vienna cocktail sausage sticking out of the bush. And just doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, we can only aspire to be that confident. That's what I say. Respect to that motherfucker.
Feel their pain, their sorrow, their sadness, and that whole grungy, like Seattle rainy, like movement. It's like a big thing, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Soundgarden would be another one too.
Okay.
Soundgarden's option B. A and B. You can flip. Whichever the edit comes out, that's the one I picked.
Well, there it is, people. I react to rockers reacting to the greatest grunge band of all time. Anybody who said any answer other than Nirvana is a poser. It's a fact. And you learned that I am close friends with Jose Mangan, although we have never met. I still consider Jose a close friend after watching this video. That's the real takeaway here. Me and Jose, BFFs. That's what I think. I'm sorry, I only speak American. Can you repeat that more slowly?